This is Mumbi Francis Kinyanjui, aka Kinya El Grande. Mumbi Francis, please, would you mind telling the people here today why you're not the one here doing this talk?
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, yeah. So, I had some visa issues with the US Embassy here in Kenya. They humbly denied me. They humbly denied me a visa entry. Yeah, and Mr. Tom is doing it.
All right, folks, I will do my best here today. When Mumbi Francis was unable to get a visa, we were, of course, really disappointed. But then we pivoted, and now I will share our story today, aided by the pre-recorded video form of Mumbi Francis. Now, Mumbi Francis, I know you were disappointed when this didn't come through for you to come here, but is there any part of you that's relieved?
I'm not relieved. Okay, there is some part. There is okay. I was in a conference this last weekend, and there was some part of me that like I was seeing speakers going onto the stage and then them presenting, then picturing in my mind, so this could have been Santiago, and then all these guys are yeah, I was just picturing it, and I was putting myself in the speaker's shoes, and I could have been a little bit nervous here, but then also like it is an interesting challenge that's really worth a pursuit.
And now you all have a glimpse of this person that I've had the very good fortune of mentoring since July 2020. The talk today is about that mentorship. Also, you've now seen that I shall be in conversation with the pre-recorded video form of Mumbi Francis. And this is very much like a Zoom pre-recorded form. It's not super HD. We want to give you the feel of what it's like to be in mentorship remotely with someone halfway across the world. My name is Tom Darcy. I use he, him pronouns. I'm 58. I live in Oakland, California. I have 3 kids. I'm married. And I have been developing professionally since age 23 when I got a job at Oracle. Right now, I work at Visco, where for the past 7 years, I've been coding in Go, which I really love. Mumbi Francis, please, would you quickly give the folks a little intro to yourself?
So, hi. My name is Mumbi Francis Kinyanjui. I'm a software engineer from Nairobi, Kenya. And at the moment, I'm 24 years old. I do have one brother, and I have 4 sisters. I'm into cycling. I'm also into dancing, but specifically the dance that I do the most is salsa. And I'm also into running. I was born and raised in Eldoret, which is my hometown, and yeah, we usually call it the home of champions, since yeah, it's where almost all the marathon runners from Kenya come from. I did school in a town called Nyeri, which is in the central part of Kenya. I usually use my mom's name as my surname, which is Mumbi, and then it's supposed to be Francis Kinyanjui Mumbi, but then when I was registering for my national exams in primary school, they started with my surname, which is Mumbi. So now from then the records have me as Mumbi Francis Kinyanjui.
Now, a mentorship can be a bit of a mystery. We know our own, perhaps, but we have no idea what happens in other people's. But today, you'll get to see inside ours. You'll see how it's put together. You'll get a feeling of what it's like to be in a one-to-one mentorship with somebody. And you'll get to see Mumbi Francis's story. You'll get to experience and hear his journey. Now, some of you may be thinking, hey, I might like to be a mentee or a mentor. Well, see what you think. And I bet a lot of you have already done it or are doing it, and you can compare notes and see what we do the same, what's different. So today, here's how we're going to make our way through. We'll start, like every good engineering discussion, with input, where we are now. Then we'll discuss, well, what did we actually do for 3 whole years? Then we'll get into the teaching of Go, and then the leveling up from someone who knows Go a little bit to being a professional Go developer, and then on to output, where we are now. And finally, a little bit about thinking if you might want to do this. And before we leave this slide, there is a real map here that shows us where Kenya is, which I did not really know 3 years ago, but it's on the eastern coast of Africa, as you see, and it's also kind of in the middle north-south. Now, Nairobi is the southernmost pin there. That's the capital. And just north of that is Nairi, where Moby Francis went to college. And then to the west is a pin for Eldoret, his hometown. Okay, so spring 2020. Moby Francis, what's going on for you? I know that your school has been paused and you're working some, but what in that moment leads you to a Go mentorship?
June 2020. Yeah, of course. At the time, it was at the peak of COVID. Nairobi was under lockdown. I couldn't travel home. Yeah, we also used to argue a lot with my with some of my tech peers, like which is the fastest language and stuff, and now which is the easiest to learn. I saw Go, and then I saw the history of it, like the people who developed it. Yeah, and then I saw I saw some familiar names, the same guys who developed C, or who are part of C, and I saw that it's the easiest, that it's like the learning journeys or the learning curve is it's not that steep and everything. So and it's also fast. It was around June 2020, yeah, when I saw Bill Kennedy's tweet that he had a pool of mentors that need mentees. Via that, we got matched with this guy over here.
May 2020. It's kind of a cozy time for us, strangely, because our 2 oldest kids have come home from college. So now there's 5 of us in the house, all together, going through this crazy time, a Zoom call in each room for school and for work. And I feel fortunate to be in that situation. But the cozy nest gets kind of blown up when this video comes across our screens that so many of us saw, right? It's broad daylight, and there's a man being murdered calmly. And we all see it. His name is George Floyd. And somehow this is too much. This blows the stack, and COVID be damned. We're all out marching, right? We're marching here, we're marching there. But then what? What to do? I'm a very busy person, but I want to be helpful. And I decide I could volunteer. I could volunteer in Oakland, where there's so much need. I could teach people coding, whether it's kids or formerly incarcerated people or what. But I completely strike out. I have no luck volunteering. Every place is full. It's like volunteer glut or something, or I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't manage to get a volunteer slot. So I'm still trying to figure this out. When in June, this tweet comes across my screen from this guy who seems to be a Go celebrity. His name's Bill Kennedy, and he is looking for mentors in Go for people in Kenya. Whoa, I don't know anything about Kenya. But this seems like it could be a good thing. One thing leads to another. A week later, I'm getting my first session ready for this person I'm going to meet. And I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm really like, what do mentors even offer? I mean, maybe this is just like a thing to puff myself up. I don't know. I'm suspicious of my motives, but I'm hopeful. I feel like this could be good. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I'm a little afraid. Like, what if I have so much and this person has so little that I feel compelled to like give them my money or something? That scares me. What if they try to scam me or something? I mean, these are the crazy thoughts going on in my mind. Also, I have Bill Kennedy's words in my mind. He had told me, most people drop off after a few weeks because life gets busy. And I think, or do they? So what did we do for 3 whole years? When Mumby Francis and I first got together, I don't think either of us thought we'd be talking to each other 3 years later. Well, we have the data. What you're looking at here isn't just a pretty picture, it's also data. Each line represents a day where Mumby Francis and I communicated, with the far left being July 2020 and the far right being July 2023. And you can already see some shape to this. I learned from this that we communicated on average once every 6 days during this period, 3-year period. That surprised me because it didn't feel like a burden. It was a lot. You can see the shape of things. Mumby Francis, you see there's these gaps here, and I'm very curious about those. I wonder if you can think on those, and we'll get back to them in a minute. Like, these were times we were not talking, but let's look at another couple graphs first. This is the same data, but now there's a vertical time component. So indicating minutes spent on the activity, and there's colors. The colors indicate what we were focusing on. So starting in July 2020, it's all blue because it's the Go lessons. That's all about teaching Go, and that includes prep time and meeting time. And prep was extensive for that part of things. 5 months in, October, November, we get to like, okay, we've done all these lessons. Do we just keep doing them for the rest of our lives, or do we do something else, or do we stop, or what? We decided to stop the lessons, but keep in touch and see what happens. So as you see, we move now into things about school and about personal Go projects, and keep moving on. And then we get into some grays. All the grays represent things about work, career, interviewing, work culture, work coding, that kind of stuff. There's also yellow on there. Yellow stands for life. And that's, I mean, to be fair, we always talked about life, soccer, cooking, family, exercise, all hobbies, all sorts of things, politics, countries, so much to talk about. But the yellow means that was the main thing we were focusing on that day. And finally, you see, as we come to the right here, March, April, May of this year, that's us working on a talk about our mentorship. Next graph, same data, different colors. These colors, the colors now represent the type of activity. So starting at the start there, you see that the prep time broken out, the extensive amount of prep time at the start. You see the red WhatsApp thread all the way through. We are on WhatsApp DM all the way through. You can see meetings. So now you see the 3 graphs stacked one on top of the other. You can see how the data lines up. And I want to give a big appreciation to Nicholas Darcy-Marr, who worked with the data I had, figured out what to do with it, and made these charts. It's been really helpful, and for me and my understanding, and hopefully for you all. Also, Mumby Francis, we see these gaps. What was going on there? Like, I feel like I was probably just busy. I don't know, but why weren't we talking? Was there something up?
I mean, there were times that we were not in touch, and yeah, I mean, I feel like at that moment, you knew, like, you kind of had an idea. Life was lifing on my end. Yeah, and also, yeah, I didn't want to now bother you and stuff, since I was trying to figure out what I'm gonna do and stuff. I think one of the toughest moments for someone is after they're done with college, and now what's next? After you're done with college, you realize that you are in a bubble in college, and now you're no longer in that bubble. So in college, you're like in a fantasy world, and now after college, you're like, now you're in the real world now, and you have to struggle. You have to earn your own money. Yeah, and you're just now on your own. I usually feel like it is a journey that one has to go through, and just yeah, just figure out shit. It's like an initiation phase to life. Okay, there is this thing. I'm the first son in the family, and then in my tribe, we usually say "Kehege koro no taide." So that basically means that the first son is just like the dad. So when the dad is not around, now the first son is the dad. it was too much pressure for me. Yeah, it was too much pressure for me.
As we see here, this mentorship business is a two-way learning situation. I learned so much from Mumbi Francis. Sometimes, we wonder who's the mentor, who's the mentee. It was always something broadening my horizons. And speaking of learning, let's talk about Learn & Go. It's July 2020. And as far as I see it, my job is to teach Mumbi Francis Go. And I know he has school and work and other distractions, so I want to keep it engaging, and it's got to be useful. Now, so I start thinking about it, and there's so many lessons out there. And Bill Kennedy points me to a bunch of Go lessons and all these helpful things, but I'm very project-based. And I was hoping to have a project that that Mumbi Francis could work through, that we could work through together. And I stumbled across this great thing. It's a project where you make a Pac-Man game, a terminal-based Pac-Man game in Go. It was posted by Daniela Petruzalek, and it's fabulous. It's all split out into lessons and everything. And I take that structure and I run with it. And I attach a whole bunch of stuff to it and develop week-by-week lessons that start simple and end up with like Go routines and channels and all that business. So that's our first several weeks. In addition to the exercises, I make us a shared document. So this is our home base for the learning, and it has a bunch of references, as you see here. There's a couple pages of it right here. And then also on the right is a week by week lesson detail. So it has, we can share information in there. We can record what we're doing week by week. I also make myself a document just for me, so I can remember the name of Mumbi Francis's hometown, or I don't know, the name of his siblings, or that in Swahili, all consonants are followed by vowels, pretty much, things like that. So I can get my context going. When the whole Pac-Man or Pac person, as we've called it, when that exercise runs its course many weeks in, then I come up with a couple other projects. I put those in a GitHub repo in case I want to do more mentorship. Seems like it'd be handy to have those there. And that's how we progress along for several months. So, but Mumbi Francis, I need to ask you, tell me, what did you pick up over these 4 or 5 months? Did you learn Go?
The big thing also was how to learn to code. Yeah, and also I also did learn some how to architect my softwares while I'm developing them, and also how to write a maintainable and clean code. Yeah. So those are some of the things that I did learn at that time. And also, I would say also how to read code. I did learn it at that moment. We did have coding classes in school, but yeah, there is a but. Yeah.
Now, I didn't realize, I really had no idea I was teaching all those things, that Mumbi Francis would pick that up from these Go lessons. It was really fascinating to hear that from him. But Mumbi Francis, tell me, do you have any specific memories of learning Go from that time, like within the actual lessons you were working on?
It was an aha moment was when I was working with strings, when we did the poem exercise. One of the tasks in the was it Shakespeare poem? Yeah, it was picking up it was picking up words that are repeating. That exercise was one of those exercises that made me motivated me to continue further. And then I saw, okay, see, I tackled it, and then after tackling it, I was like, damn, I can do this. Yeah. Nice. That's one of the exercises that made me kind of believe in myself that I can do this Go thing.
A couple years into the mentorship, Moby Francis got hired as a Go programmer. So Moby Francis, I am curious, how did you go from someone who had done a few months of Go lessons into somebody who was ready to be hired as a professional Go developer?
I still continued learning through articles. There are some articles which are are usually pretty insightful, I would say, and also through reading some Go codes. I did subscribe to the Go newsletter, which is usually sent in every Friday, and they had like they usually have like some Go repositories and also some Go blogs that one can look into. So I was choosing the Go blogs that on topics that I was interested in, or topics that I was like, so you could do this in Go. Another thing that's really worth mentioning is developing my side Go projects, even though most of them never saw the light. It was like a laboratory for me, and they were like my lab rats in Go.
So where are we now? Output. Now, this isn't the end. We're going to continue talking, but it's at least a snapshot moment. For me, I mean, I didn't manage to learn Swahili, which is a downfall. I did do a little bit, but the experience has definitely changed me. Like, it retaught me the lesson that I keep needing to learn, which is that at any given moment in my life, there might be a handful of different things I could do, but actually choosing and doing one of those things is the thing that makes all the difference. And I keep needing to learn that again. This is something that I feel energized when I talk about it. I feel good talking about it. I feel really happy to be doing it. And that's really great to have something like that in your life. My worldview is opened up. Let's just say that. And I'm very appreciative for that. Now, Mumbi Francis, I have a question for you, because here we are at this place, and I'm not sure what I want to ask, but it's something about money. It's about how is it to be a software developer in Kenya? Crassly, are you getting paid enough? Is this worth it?
How I measure enough is if I can keep things going and for myself, and if I can also support my family. Yeah, so it is enough. I would say it's enough for me. Yeah. Initially, it was like the doctors were the ones who were highly paid, and then there was civil engineers and a pool of engineers before software engineering became like a thing over here. Yeah, but at the moment, so I would say software engineers are the ones who are not at the top, but they are on the first layer. There is, in terms of their salaries and in terms of their social life or social class. Yeah, most people come from humble backgrounds, and after campus or after they get their first job, they usually support their families. At the moment, I'm supporting our second last born. She's a girl and she's in high school at the moment, and I'm the one supporting her. At the moment, I still send roughly around 30 to 40% of my salary to my family. Some money is used to develop some projects that we have, so that they could be generating more income and reduce the dependency. I did set up a store, like a grocery store for my mom.
Mumbi Francis, I've really enjoyed hearing all this. I have basically one more question for you, and I'll leave you in peace today. And that is, let's say you could go back in time to 3 years ago. Would you do this mentorship again or not?
most definitely I'm gonna do it again. Yeah, Yops is it did change my trajectory. The last 3 years I've is when my growth has skyrocketed. I would say, yeah, it's, at the moment, I can own to the name software engineer.
So should you do this? Perhaps. If you're interested at all, you can contact the people at GoBridge at this email address here, mentoring@gobridge.org. GoBridge is a great organization. Their whole mission is around increasing participation for underrepresented minorities in Go. And mentorship is just one of the things they do. They do several other things. They've also changed how they do mentorship a bit. So email them here and you can find out all the details. In closing out here, we give you a picture of a rainbow. It's something I shared on my Visco. It's a pretty cool platform for creating and sharing beautiful photographs and videos. And it's powered by so much Go code. So that makes it all the better. Check it out. Mumbi Francis Kinyanjui is a backend developer at Planet Crust. You can find him on Twitter as Kinya El Grande, and he would like to thank Heather Sullivan and me. You're welcome. I'm Tom Darcy. I'm a senior staff engineer at Visco. My Visco is Rolling Lemon Donut. Check it out. I'm also on Twitter as Tom Darcy for as long as Twitter or X seems to last. I want to thank the people who made this presentation possible. So many folks, but in particular, Nico and Beth, Bill, Ahis, Andreas, Heather, Jose, Kaylin, Johnny, and of course you, Mumbi Francis. So Mumbi Francis, before we leave these people today, anything else you would like to say to folks?
It has been a pleasure being on your screens today and telling my story. And I'm gonna finish with a Swahili word, asanteni, which means thank you all.